Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are on the brink of closure. Investor funds Colonia shipyards. Renowned billionaire Zachary Rackham, owner of Rackham Capital Investments, has made a sizable charitable donation to build new shipyards in the Colonia region. Mr. Rackham, known in some circles as Calico Zach, made this statement. "If there's one thing I remember from flying around the galaxy in a second-hand Sidewinder, with a leaky life support module, and only 50 credits in my pocket, it's the thrill of exploration. And Colonia is the embodiment of that spirit, the farthest flung outpost of civilization. That's why I want to support it by funding the development of new shipyards. Every planetary port in the region, bar Colonia Hub, will soon be able to offer pilots the support services they need. It's my way of celebrating a youth filled with poverty and danger, by giving a boost to the next generation of explorers." Brianna Blanco, a financial journalist for the Federal Times, also published a statement. "Obviously this is tremendous news for Colonia and all those operating within the region. The timing of Rackham's donation is curious, however, coming as it does shortly before a company-wide audit. Having such a colossal sum placed beyond the reach of tax officiate, and his crew of accountants, sleep better at night." Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Princess Aisling Duval's anti-slavery campaign has merged with independent charity Universal Liberty. The rebranded organization is named Unchain. The former head of Universal Liberty, Yael Toredo, expressed his delight at the union, while rebuffing questions about his rumored romantic attachment to Aisling Duval. Laurie Jameson has made a public statement regarding the League of Reparation, which claims to be seeking justice for her ancestor, Commander John Jameson. She denied any connection to the organization while describing its actions as misguided, unnecessary and evil. Meanwhile, an independent journalist has suggested that the League of Reparation may be responsible for many more deaths than previously suspected, drawing a link between the terrorist organization and various unsolved homicides. Chief Inspector Kay Kilbride of Alliance Interpol denied that the cold cases had any connection to the League of Reparation. A new academic article has drawn attention to a fringe religion that worships the Thargoids. The sect, which has no formal name, believes that the Thargoids are heralds of an omnipotent entity called the Far God. Dr. Alfred Ulyanov, a leading expert in exotheology, has published an extensive commentary on the sect. In other news, Senator Caspian Leopold has launched an initiative to construct a rehabilitation center for those affected by heightened military action in the core systems. A spokesperson for Senator Leopold said, "An escalation in hostilities from both Thargoid and human parties has left a lot of innocent civilians without food or shelter. Senator Leopold has heard their cries for help, and is building a sanctuary where the safety of refugees can be guaranteed." Finally, the competing campaigns from the Lathe Radio Network and the Lathe Jet family have come to an end. Both factions received support from independent pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised. But ultimately there could be only one victor. And those are the main stories this week. Laurie Jameson denounces terrorist organization. The engineer Laurie Jameson has made a public statement regarding the League of Reparation. The terrorist group claims to be seeking justice for the betrayal of her ancestor, the legendary pilot Commander John Jameson. Her message was recorded at Jameson Memorial, and broadcast by several media networks. There's been a lot of speculation about what connection I might have with the so-called League of Reparation, which has murdered a number of people in recent weeks. The answer is none whatsoever. Like all of you, I am sickened by this bizarre form of genealogical terrorism. I'm not prepared to discuss my family in a public forum, but I want everyone to know that I am personally appalled by this, and am doing everything I can to help the authorities. I'm sure that Nexus, whoever or whatever it might be, is listening to this message. So to them I say, stop. These acts of revenge for my great-grandfather are misguided, unnecessary and evil. If you really want to honor his name, you'll allow us to live in peace without fear. Senior Agent Tanya Ramirez, a member of the Tri-Power Task Force dedicated to stopping the League, added, "I can confirm that Laurie Jameson is cooperating with our investigation." We are completely satisfied that she, her family and her associates are entirely unconnected to the League of Reparation. We hope that her message convinces Nexus to see sense and stop this pointless violence. Worshipping the Thargoids. A fringe religion that worships the Thargoids has come under the spotlight in a new academic article. The author, Dr. Alfred Ulyanov, is a leading expert in exotheology. He summarized his work for the media. A recent report by Gethin Okonkwo highlighted the emergence of doomsayer cults in response to the return of the Thargoids. But few are as strange as my current object of study, an organization that considers the Thargoids to be not merely alien, but divine. This mysterious sect doesn't have a formal name. The central tenet of its faith is that the Thargoids we have encountered so far are messengers, dark angels sent to prepare us for the true sacred presence, which will soon enter our plane of existence from another universe. They refer to this as the Far God. As with many monotheistic belief structures, this cult considers the Far God to be unknowable and omnipotent, but also apocalyptic. Only true believers such as themselves will survive its manifestation. Visiting one of the cult's hive chapels is an unsettling experience. Aside from a few pulsing green lights, they are very dark, and most surfaces are covered in a black coral-like substance. The congregation's prayers are directed toward an altar resembling the starfish shape of Thargoid vessels, almost like an octagonal crucifix. It's impossible to ignore that the entire place reeks of ammonia. Cult members tend to wear simple hooded robes with no markings. They are intense and resolute, but may attracts those on the very edge of society, whose low self-esteem leaves them vulnerable to beliefs that erode their identity. As an exotheologian, I am of course fascinated by the sociological impact of non-human influences. But even for a scientist, it is difficult not to feel pity, and perhaps a little revulsion, for those who identify more with a hostile species than with their own people. Lathe Radio Network campaign concludes. The Lathe Radio Network has announced that its campaign has reached a successful conclusion. Scores of pilots supported the initiative by delivering commodities to Lathe Station, thereby allowing the network to broadcast its annual conference to the entire galaxy. A rival campaign from the Lathe Jet family was unable to destabilize the Lathe Radio initiative, despite also receiving the support of independent pilots. As the campaign drew to a close, one of the organizers released a statement. The signal is spreading. We would like to extend our gratitude to the galactic community for making this possible. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Lathe Station in the Lathe system. League of Reparation implicated in historic deaths. A recent report
Docking request granted. deployed. Disengaged. Cargo hold at maximum capacity.